Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these chocolate chip cookies. To make these you will need butter, brown sugar, eggs, vanilla, self-raising flour and chocolate. You can use dark or milk, whatever you prefer. First you'll need to measure 125 grams of butter into a large bowl and just microwave that until it is runny. Then you're going to add 130 grams of brown sugar and 100 grams of white sugar. Then using a whisk you're just going to incorporate these until your sugars have started to dissolve. Next you will add 2 eggs, one at a time, and just whisk that in until you get a really beautiful, smooth, creamy texture. And you're also going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, or you can use vanilla paste like I'm using. And then again, whisk that one in until it's really beautifully creamy and smooth. You want to whisk it until you've dissolved some of the sugars. And it should also lighten in color. Now I'm adding in buckwheat flour as a portion of my flour, but you don't have to do this. You could just add 1.5 cups of self-raising flour. But I'm going to add half a cup of buckwheat flour and 1 cup of self-raising flour, just because the buckwheat flour adds a really nice kind of nutty flavor, but again, totally optional. If you're not going to add the buckwheat flour, just add 1.5 cups of self-raising flour. And then you're just going to gently mix that until the flour is all incorporated. Now I'm just going to use block chocolate here because I prefer having those little melty puddles of chocolate that you get from it. Choc chips don't necessarily melt as well. I'm just going to weigh out 130 grams, 3/4 of a cup, and then I'm just going to chop that finely on a board. I'm also going to reserve a little bit aside just to sprinkle on the tops of my cookies before they bake. So just put aside a little bit and then add the rest of your chocolate to your mixture, your cookie dough. And then you're just going to gently mix that in. You don't want to overwork the dough. As soon as you've got it mixed in, just stop. And then we're going to add some plastic wrap to the top. Pop that into the fridge for at least 2 hours. I mean, you could get away with 1 hour, but it's going to be much better with 2 hours in the fridge. When you're ready to bake, you're going to preheat your oven to 160 degrees Celsius and then grab spoonfuls of the cookie dough and roll them between your fingers and place them really quite far spaced apart on a baking tray lined with paper. Then we're just going to grab that reserved chocolate and just poke those into the tops. Then you're just going to bake them in your preheated oven for 8 to 12 minutes. 8 minutes for a very soft cookie and 12 minutes for a crispy cookie. Now as a finishing touch, I just like to sprinkle a little bit of flaky sea salt on the top, but that's totally optional. I just find it helps to balance out the sweetness. Then when they're cool, wait till they're cool, otherwise they'll fall apart. Just transfer them to a cooling rack and repeat with the rest of your dough until you have a batch of delicious chocolate chip cookies.